Welcome back, Unpluggers. It's time for us to take another step together on our journey. Today, we're tackling a thought from someone who is still firmly plugged into the old way of thinking. Right? Here's the comment. They said, I have a healthy relationship with alcohol. I drink moderately because I like alcohol without needing it. Whereas alcoholics, well, they need alcohol without liking it. Now, as soon as I read this comment, it took me right back to my old boozy days. It reminded me of the things that I used to say to myself, statements that I would use to justify my own habit, to justify the hangovers, to justify the money I spent, all the other consequences that came along with this complete waste of time. I used to believe that I had full control of my drinking. I didn't need it. You know, look at the words this guy is using. He's using words like needing and liking, healthy relationship, moderation, alcoholic. And these were all words that were part of my regular vocabulary because they allowed me to rationalize away what I was doing to myself. They allowed me to soothe and to comfort that rational and intelligent parts of my brain that were screaming against what I was doing. You know, you'll notice he has his own definition of what an alcoholic is, right? See that he's defined it as the unhealthy relationship. The alcoholic is someone who needs alcohol without liking it, which is the exact opposite of what his healthy relationship with alcohol is. You know, liking alcohol without needing it. So, one question, what's healthy about putting a toxin into your body for fun? From a physical or a mental point of view. You know, just to remind you, this channel is all about stopping drinking alcohol. You know, nearly all of the videos, 99% to be sure, tackle either stopping drinking alcohol or what to do once you have stopped drinking. And this post was from, or this comment was from a post about some of the mistakes that we make while we're drinking alcohol. So I'd say this guy is definitely contemplating his relationship with booze. You know, my aim here on Habits Unplugged on this channel has always been to help people who want help, right? Who want help to stop drinking. You know, if you don't want help, it's a waste of time for you, for me, for everyone else concerned, right? So this type of video isn't about casting judgment, however. It's about helping each other to see through some of the lies that we tell each other, okay? Now, my point is the language used in the comment is kind of vague and meaningless in that it's completely open to interpretation, and it's always in the interpretation where the danger lies. Now, it's these interpretations that keep us drinking much longer than we should do. That was certainly my experience anyway, and they help to kill our commitment. You know, once we do get going on this journey, you get 30 days into this, 60 days into this, and it's that kind of thinking that is going to kill your commitment. So from my perspective, I don't think the danger is in someone coming to the channel and reading a comment like this and being influenced by it, although that's quite possible, right? But that's not where I think the danger is. The danger is in the self-deceptive nature of statements like these. It's in the lies that we tell ourselves. You know, when we deliberately deceive ourselves, it's always a disaster for our lives, always. You know, I know because I've lived a huge proportion of my life with these exact lies and many others just like it. Now, the problem with any self-deception is that we're both the deceiver and the deceived. The deceiver and the deceived. And it takes a lot more to see the deception than anything to do with, you know, when you're working against yourself and you're deceiving yourself, it takes a lot more to find out about that, you know, to get it to the forefront of your mind and to do anything about it, because you're your own worst enemy. You know, the reason most people are happy to live a lie is because it gives them an instant gratification in small doses, right? Small doses of pleasure in the moment, and that helps them to hide away from the reality of life. Again, I know this only too well because I've done it. Now, focusing on momentary pleasure, it sets you up for a lifetime of unhappiness and a lifetime of discontent. And because alcohol is your release right? Because alcohol becomes your escape hatch from the unhappiness that alcohol is actually causing. That's the exact cycle that you get trapped in. Now, we've spoken a lot on this channel about the deceptive language used by those who are still plugged into these old habits, and also by the alcohol industry. You know, things like healthy relationship with alcohol, moderate drinking, responsible drinking. These all sound really meaningful when you say them, but they're meaningless. They're empty phrases because they can mean anything. You know, they can stretch you out to one end, and you can say, well, this is what that means to me. You know, responsible drinking is this and not doing this. You know, the drinking driving thing is a good analogy for that, because they focus all their attentions on drinking and driving. And who wants anyone out on the roads when they're full of alcohol, right? Nobody. So everyone says, well, yeah, I've got to be responsible. And that is one of the responsible things that we do. But responsible drinking in terms of putting this shit into your body. And the worst thing is, you know, these things are ideally packaged, right, for us, for our brains. They make it easy for us to deceive ourselves. So the question is, again, what exactly is healthy about putting a toxin into your mouth, and how is that responsible? A guy I admire a lot, I've read a lot from this guy, is a guy called Søren Kierkegaard. And he said there are two ways to be fooled. One is to believe what isn't true, and the other is to refuse to believe what is true. Now, all I have to do is go back to my own thinking, right? What I used to think about alcohol. Thinking about alcohol moderation, for instance. And this was exactly the problem with all of my ideas surrounding that. You know, I was either believing in the lie that all I had to do was moderate and everything else would be grand, or I just refused to see the truth that alcohol was this horrible toxin that was slowly poisoning me, slowly killing me, and it had no place inside my body. As part of a group of people who are unplugged, or are trying to get unplugged from the alcohol thinking, right, from that way of thinking, we've chosen to disconnect ourselves from the lies, from all that matrix style bullshit, right? And we're taking a step towards, or many steps towards, a healthier and a happier life. And we do it one day at a time, right? That's our journey. That's our commitment to ourselves and to each other, right? When we say no to putting alcohol into our mouths, remember that this is a truth that we've learned the hard way. Keep in mind that these words and phrases, they're hiding an unhappy and unfulfilled life, right? And when someone starts rationalizing their own alcohol use, their own drinking, just remember that they're not trying to convince you of, you know, you should return to the old ways of doing things. They're trying to convince themselves. And that's the end of it. You know, at the end of the day, your body, your choice, your life, right? But remember, the lies that we tell others are nothing compared to the lies that we tell ourselves. And those are the ones which really do the most damage to us. So let's continue on this journey together, step by step. We're always moving onwards and upwards. Let's challenge our beliefs, question our habits, choose the path that we want to be on, the path that leads us to a better selves. Your comments and thoughts are always welcome in our Unpluggers community here. As always, keep the alcohol out of your mouth, and remember, we're in this together, we're walking this path together. Take care of yourselves, onwards and upwards. Bye now.